Welcome to Power Session number 51 of the Power Your Life Today podcast. I'm Kristy Jo, Mind and Body Strategist. I teach women how to build and apply mindset strategies to help them live a life of more love, value, and service. Power Your Life Today is the mindset branch of my main company, Body Buddies, where I teach nutrition and fitness strategies to help women power their bodies and operate in their highest capacity and confidence. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram as Power Your Life Today. And if you're new here, consider subscribing as well as checking out my all-new site, poweryourlifetoday.com. There are tools and resources there to help you get started on your mental discipline journey, just as if I had come to your home, sat you down in your living room, and worked with you one-on-one. Again, that's poweryourlifetoday.com. Today, we're talking with Jacque Julien, who has a PhD in clinical psychology, turned well life coach and creator of the Empowered Life Diet. She helps smart, sassy women reclaim their inner strength to be confident, slay their food demons, and live their empowered life. Get the extra goodies and download mentioned in today's episode at www.jackjulian.com/poweryourlifetoday. The link for that will be in the show notes. You just need to click on your screen if you're listening on iTunes or Stitcher Radio, or it will be in the notes if you're listening on the URL blog in the browser. In this conversation, you're going to hear about how even as a clinical psychologist, when stress with her family and a husband's illness hit the fan, how Jacque made friends with food and began to depend on it. How one day she woke up and began asking herself the questions we all must ask ourselves. How a vision is looking at your whole life, but not missing the step we often forget, which is picturing ourselves doing the actions required to get to where we want to be. You'll also hear about how it's not about your willpower. It's about something more. I'm so excited to introduce Jacque to you. You're going to love her just like I love her, and we just can't wait to share all of this information with you. So definitely please be willing to leave a review. If you're on your iPhone, you can do this on the iTunes podcast app. You just need to search for Power Your Life Today, and then in the center button there that says reviews, just click that. We definitely welcome 5-star reviews. Stitcher Radio, same thing, or you can navigate there through the browser on your laptop. Thank you so much for being here, for believing in yourself, and for seeking to power yourself to a person of more value, more love, and more service.
I help strong, sassy females regain their inner strength to be more confident, slay their food demons, and live their empowered life.
Ooh, slay their food demons. That's quite the visual. Like I'm picturing a warrior princess and this, big dragon. We have our swords and we have our what's a girdle? That's different than a corset, right? I need to study that one.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I like to picture Wonder Woman.
Oh, there we go. Let's slay them.
Yeah.
Well, how did this begin? How did your story of helping women begin? You started out as a psychologist, I believe, right?
I did. I still teach, but my main job is coaching, and it really started out in thinking about health and fitness and, how does that fit in psychologically when, working with people. And then looking at the other aspect, the health and fitness industry and the focus on, a lot of it is still on weight loss. And there's so much more that goes into it than just, trying to have all the willpower not to ever eat the cake. And that's, why most people fail. And so I kind of put the two together and said, it's more about our whole lives. It's, our brain, I would say, is the most powerful muscle that we have. And so that's what we need to work with more if we want to change our lives in any way, get over our mindless eating issues. And that's really kind of how it came about.
It's so incredible to me. You're like the superstar of the show. I feel like the entire Power Your Life Today, because the whole reason I started this was because of all of my work in nutrition and fitness and working with thousands of people. And, you know, only the people that worked with me one-on-one really got to challenge the real problems, which were the way we were addressing our stressors and our life and our time management and our belief in ourselves and elimination of fears and doubts. And I thought, why aren't the masses getting this information? This is not about you have to eat spinach at 3 o'clock, you know? Like, guys, I have the magic secret. You know, it's about so much more. So I just, oh my goodness, I want to unleash you. Talk to me. Talk to me about why we hold ourselves back. Is there some inner belief that the majority of people have that maybe consigns them to their past or previous habits?
You know, it's funny you asked this question because I have been thinking about that so much this week and reading a lot about how fearful it is for people to step out and not be part of the norm, you know, part of the in crowd, I guess, you know, those who are running through McDonald's and eating crappy and going, oh, well, I'm with friends, so I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and eat this whole bowl of chips here at the Mexican restaurant. And I think, you know, I work with women, and so I think for women mostly it's this idea that, you know, community is so important, but you have to be the same. You know, you shouldn't stand out, and you shouldn't be better than. And I don't get that. We should all be better than. We should all be the best us that we can be.
Well, and I love what you say about this social dynamic. Just this week I had a call with a client who, for the first time in maybe 3 months, she said, Kristy, I have the best triumph this week. I asked them their triumph of the week. She said, I went and did lunch with my friends, and we just decided instead of going out to stay home and make salads. And that had been a fear of hers. She had ended up isolating for about 3 months because she didn't want to be put in that situation of coming across better than. Like, oh, so you're eating healthy? Well, aren't you better than us? And that's a very sensitive dynamic from all women, especially. I think let's gear this towards women. I think this is where we both work with them. So I guess if somebody is worried about that social dynamic, what advice would you give them? What thoughts should we empower ourselves with?
You know, one of the things that I like to tell my clients is you have the right to be healthy. You have the right to be healthier than those around you.
How do we keep that from becoming a negative thing? Because I could see myself even spinning that negatively, being like, oh, well, I don't ever want to, you know, I shouldn't position myself against others. How do we keep the positivity of that statement and the empowerment of that statement going?
That's a great point. I think in that case, then, you know, the way to do it is simply maybe find yourself a collective that is more healthy and that is going to support you in your journey. Or, you know, maybe encouraging others around you.
Yeah. We have to have a vision, don't we? We have to know what we want.
We do. And, you know, I think part of the issue is in some ways it's different for everybody. You know, I mean, there's some people who it's super important to, you know, maybe get those six-pack abs. And, you know, they have to understand all that goes into that. But, you know, for others, it's just, you know, simply I don't want to be in front of the television every Friday night eating a bag of chips.
Yeah.
So like you said, you know, working with your individual clients, I think you get that more idea of exactly what is important for them.
Now, you talk a lot on your blog and what you do about having an empowered life vision. So maybe it's stepping away and looking at the entire picture. Like we're talking about an isolated situation here or there, but what does that mean to have an empowered life vision?
Well, some people might call it, you know, like a life vision, or I've heard some people in the wellness industry talk about having a wellness vision. And I like empowered because it makes you feel powerful and like you can actually do it. So the other part of empower is actually to permit. And I also love this part because it's like giving ourselves permission to live a fabulous life, to go after what we want, to live that life that we want to live.
Permission. That's huge. That means that we're kind of holding ourselves hostage.
And I think in some ways we do. We hold ourselves back. And, it isn't until we find something that can kind of trigger and go, oh, this is okay for us to do. And I would like, for people to be able to do that on their own all the time.
Yeah, like a self-driven, self-directed world, right?
Yes.
What's different between a vision and goals?
Well, a vision, I like to think of it as more a sort of 3D aspect, right? So you're looking at your whole life and who you want to be and where you want to go. And I think, goals are important. I think, goals sort of fit into it. But also with a vision, you've got the big picture and then the picture of you getting there. Because I think in some ways that's the step that we forget sometimes. We think about, well, I'm going to lose all this weight. Okay. But then we actually have to picture ourselves doing it, working out or, going for walks and eating less potato chips. So with the Empowered Life Vision, you get all of that. And there's not an end date. A lot of times we'll set goals and we'll be like, if I don't reach this goal by such and such a time, that's the end. And then it makes us feel bad.
Sure.
If we're reaching for this Empowered Life Vision, it's something that we can continuously work towards. And we can change, And quite frankly, in some ways, Kristy Jo, goals just aren't sexy. I want to eat 50 carrots this week. That's not really sexy.
Yeah, no. Now, if they had cream cheese frosting, maybe.
Right.
Just kidding. Just jokes, people. Just jokes. Okay, let's talk about this feeling bad thing. If we don't meet our goals, because how many times? My gosh, before any success I had with my body, I have over 15 years of disordered eating and this withhold, and every day and mark my calendar and yes, I did it, and that 2 to 3 week break period, and then just absolute failure and go on a 3 to 6 month binge session. Thankfully, I worked out like crazy. I mean, obsessive. That was my whole disordered eating thing I'd pound the calories and then I'd go work out for 4 to 6 hours and run marathons. That's not healthy, guys. That's not healthy.
No.
So how on earth, if I want to reverse and talk to my 15-year-old self and have you talk to her who's feeling so frustrated that she can't seem to follow through. She feels like a failure because every time she tries, she breaks. And there's no confidence, zero confidence. What would you tell her?
I would tell her, no, it's different because, adolescence.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and maybe we do 15-year-old Kristy, and then we do an adult woman, and we'll give her the name.
But I think you bring up an important point, and this is, sort of off topic, but that, in adolescence, we really need to talk about health. We're so obsessed with the way we look, but even losing a ton of weight, yes, it's going to make some changes in your life, and it's going to, maybe give you more confidence and those kind of things. But you know what? When your kids are screaming, you're not going to walk into the room and go, hey, look at me, I lost 50 pounds, so you're going to behave yourself.
Good point.
But if you're healthy and, you've lost that weight, you can say, okay, well, kids, you're fighting. Let's go outside and play today, and you can actually play with them, right? So the health aspect, I think, is important, and especially in the teenage years when body image is so important. And, do I look good, and do I look better or the same as everybody else? And but I would like to tell Kristy Jo that you have the power to do it. It's not about the yo-yo dieting. It's about finding a way that you can live with this for the rest of your life, right? And it's not about restriction, because then you want it more. You know, it's the forbidden fruit.
Absolutely.
If you say you are never going to have cake, then you will want cake.
Bingo.
Right? And like you said, you know, you'd restrict and then you'd binge. And that's why. You know, you can have cake. You just don't want to have it every day.
Yeah. So the 15-year-old self is thinking and feeling about this whole, what can I sustain? Because I can't do this craziness my whole life. So finding an approach that will work for me and be sustainable, which, you know, would be hard to grasp completely at 15 years old, but starting to, you know, work on that. What about the woman who's listening to this, who has some children, who feels she has given her life to everyone else, who isn't completely satisfied with where she is, maybe not just in body, but just overall empowerment and feelings of confidence? Where do we go with this type of woman?
I would say that, you know, you need to get over, well, I probably wouldn't say it as outright as that, but, you know, we think so much that it's about willpower, and it's not. You know, we want to use all that willpower, but we have so many things that we need to use our willpower for that, you know, by the end of the day, when you get home and you want to break into that candy bar, well, that's part of the reason why you have, you know, used up all this willpower. But these eating patterns are really, you know, they've really become habits. And give yourself a break, because these habits are helping you at this point in your life, right? It's that, you know, even though it's 2 seconds of pleasure when you have that piece of chocolate, it's helping you get through those 2 seconds. And these habits are there because they helped you. Maybe now they're not helping you as much as they used to. But at one point in time, they did help you. And so it's not really about your willpower. It's changing these habits and finding out what is driving them so that you can work on those issues.
Yeah. Now, you definitely have some personal experience with this, don't you?
I do.
Yeah. Can we take a personal dive and go and talk about when your husband was diagnosed with his kidney condition and what happened?
Sure.
Share with us that story.
Okay. So, you know, I've always sort of been what I would say the typical eater. You know, there's been diets and there's been working out and there's been forgetting it all and going on. But when it really got bad for me was when I've got 2 kids, and when my youngest was 6 months old, and so at that time my oldest was 3, my husband got diagnosed with a chronic kidney condition. And it was horrible. He was flat laid up for like a few months. You know, he most days would drag himself to work and come home and crash. And this went on, well, it's been almost 6 years now. And, you know, this went on for probably about the first 2 years after he had been diagnosed, with trying to get the medication right, and, you know, he'd be up and down, but, you know, a lot of times he would just be not around. And so, you know, I'm here with 2 young kids, not knowing what is going on with my husband, and it was super stressful. And so I found some new friends, potato chips, dip, Mountain Dew. I'll admit, it's not a commercial for Mountain Dew. Don't drink Mountain Dew. It's horrible for you. But because I was so tired, and I'm like, what has the most caffeine so I can get through my day? And, you know, those friends, they really helped me through. Now they're frenemies. They really didn't do me any good, because there are times when I still want to turn to them. But they're not helpful. And so that was really my deep dive into emotional eating, until I woke up one day and said, holy cow, okay, I have 2 young kids, and we don't know what's going on with my husband. You know, this may kill him tomorrow, or he may get hit by a bus tomorrow. You know, we don't know. But I am so not healthy. That is not good for my kids. That's not good for me. And so that was when I really started to dive way deeper into, well, why am I turning to food, and what is it doing for me? And realized that, you know, it was, you know, at the time it was helping me. You know, on Friday nights when my husband and I used to sit on the couch and, you know, catch up on shows or whatever, I didn't have that anymore. But, you know, those potato chips, they were a good second. So I could watch whatever I wanted to with them. But they were making me sicker, and so they weren't really helping me anymore once I could sort of pull my head up and say, wait, this is not the kind of life I want to live.
Yeah. Well, and what I appreciate a ton is the vulnerability in sharing this. You know, you hold a doctorate in clinical psychology.
Yes.
And I think what I have found as I talk to more and more and more people, both experts in mindset and thought patterns, as well as people just everyday living, you know, and we're all in the trenches of that, you know. It doesn't matter, at least this is my finding, how much we know. We are all susceptible. We all have to live our lives. Now, we are empowering ourselves with tools and information and knowledge, but what I want our listeners to really realize here is there's nobody that's just foolproof or immune from these things. And so the reason I share that is that sometimes we get in the thought patterns of thinking, oh, well, I'm just weak. It's just me. I don't know enough. I'm not smart enough. And that's not true. And I think you just shared that we're all susceptible, but you also share how you got over it. Yeah. Where did the Empowered Life diet come from? Was that the genesis of it? Was that experience and where you began to shift into helping others with this?
It really was. It was based on, yes, my own experience was certainly the impetus for making sure that I was, you know, looking at helping other people in this way. And so I did start working with some other clients and, you know, finding very similar things. And, you know, like you said, that, you know, we have the information, but we are all susceptible to this. You know, you talked about, you know, and then we feel bad because we feel like we're weak. Well, as a psychologist, you know, I felt horrible, right? I'm a psychologist. Why can I not figure this out? But when you're in the trenches and your emotions are involved, it's so different than, you know, looking at other people and saying, oh, well, they have this, or, you know, they have the information, or they have the willpower. That may or may not be true, but we all can find it and get help.
We have that power. We are that Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Do you mind sharing some of the principles that are a part of your Empowered Life diet, and maybe just some of those surface things and how somebody listening to this might learn more about it?
Sure. So a lot of it is based on, you know, I don't want to say using your brain in a sort of intellectual way, but flexing your brain muscles and looking at our habits. Like I said that, you know, this emotional eating, it has become a habit, and it served you at one point. Now it's not serving you anymore. Looking at these negative thoughts that we tell ourselves, the stinking thinking that we is so ingrained in us that they're just automatic. And so really combating those and refuting those negative things that we say. And actually, and, you know, I guess the first step is actually realizing that we do it. A lot of times we do it, and we just don't even realize that that's what we're doing. And I also like to add a dose of, you know what, make it fun. You know, we go on a diet, and oh my gosh, I can't have this, and I can't have that, and my life is over, and oh, but wait, maybe if I can make it through these 4 months or 6 months and lose the weight, then everything will be rainbows and unicorns. But you know what? When you change your life, it can be fun. It can be rainbows and unicorns, and you can not even have lost all that weight yet. So I like to add that dose of fun and really looking at, you know, it's the whole life. And I hate to say lifestyle change because I feel like I'm like, oh, my gosh, that's so overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, it makes you feel like everything has to change, every little thing.
Yes. And that's not true. But looking at your whole life and what is most important to change right now. You know, maybe there's other things down the road, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah. So where do people, you have on your website, you have 5 free tips, you have a blog, and that's at jacqueline.com, right? Or Jacque Julien. That's
Jacque Julien. It's JacqueJulien.com, JacqueJulien.com. And there's actually a special gift for your listeners, Kristy Jo, at JacqueJulien.com/power your life today.
Oh, that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. So everybody, head over there. We are going to have a link to that in the show notes if you don't want to type that in your hot little fingers. But I'm sure, you know, everyone, these days, technology, we got that in 2.5 seconds.
Right. Exactly. Yes. And we can...
Okay. Well, let's. Gosh, I have so many questions for you, but I think the biggest thing I want to help our listeners take away is, what does an empowered life look like, but more importantly, feel like? How do we know when we're on the right path to becoming and getting there?
Okay, so I think this is a great question because I can't tell you what your empowered life looks like. It's different for everyone. So, you know, some people, maybe they want to be the CEO of their own business, and that's what they're working towards. You know what? For some people, maybe their empowered life vision is simply not to yell at their kids and just be the best parents that they can be. And both of those are awesome. Yeah. They're great visions. But it's going to be different for everyone. I think the thing is that it has to feel right to you. And here's my personal example. I have a lot of friends that travel, and so, you know, they're on social media and they're posting these pictures of these great, fabulous places. And so when I sat down at the beginning of the year, I always sort of review my vision at the beginning of the year, and I was thinking, oh, travel. Yeah, you know, all these people, they're at these exotic locales, and I want to do that. But when I sat down and really thought about it, I was like, I like to travel. Would I maybe like to take a couple more vacations a year? Sure. But I also have 2 kids, and they like to go, you know, to Disney World and stuff. But I don't like to pack. I don't like to unpack. I like to sit on the beach and do nothing. So is it really, you know, do I want to travel more? Do I need to go to all these exotic locales? And it dawned on me that it wasn't really the travel that was pulling me in. It seemed like they had more freedom, like they could do more with their time. And so when I realized that, I was like, oh, yeah, that's it. It's the freedom. That's what I want. I don't necessarily want to spend that freedom traveling, but I want the freedom to say, no, I don't want to travel.
Oh, wow. You just had you gave me a light bulb moment. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so it has to feel good to you.
Wow. Okay, I want to share my light bulb moment.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, last month I moved to a new house, a little bit more space, piano finally in it. I play the piano. I've played for many, many years. I love playing the piano. And I suddenly realized, okay, you're going to make this happen. You're going to get even better. You're going to sit down, apply the same tools. You know how I get better at anything, dance, fitness, nutrition. I set little goals. I set daily habits, blah, 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 blah. So I set about this agenda, and, 30, 45 minutes I thought I could work into my schedule every day in the morning. Mm-hmm. And for 2 weeks, I practiced, and I got, like, my agility started to come back. I was feeling pretty good. I could rip through my repertoire. I was feeling like a concert pianist. And then after about 2 weeks, I suddenly stopped playing. And I'm actually in that room right now looking at my agenda where all my little stickers are that I was putting a sticker for every day I practiced. And it's been empty for the past 2 weeks. And what I just realized perhaps when you were saying this was that it wasn't the idea of playing every day that I wanted. It was the feeling of being able to express myself and being able to have that option available to me.
Right. Oh. So now you're going to have to do something with that.
Okay, so then, and maybe this is giving our listeners some of their own light bulb moments. I really hope it is. So from there, where do I go? How is there a moderated approach that I say, I could sit down twice a week and play, and I will do that on Monday and Friday? Or where would I go from here?
Well, I think this is what it sounded like when you said that, Kristy Jo, is that you said, you got your agility back and you were feeling good. And so I think, what is the next step after that for you?
There wasn't one. I'd have to go perform, and I'm not wanting to do that.
So then, if all of those fundamentals are there, then, make it fun, that, is there a new piece that you want to challenge yourself to learn? Is it, what, you want to go play the piano after, before you get started for your day, so that can help you get revved up, or you want to play it after your day for a few minutes or 20 minutes or however long you have to sort of wrap up your day?
Okay, I like this. I like it. And what I want to point out to our listeners is it's this exploration. She just really gave me 4 questions to really think about and to go inside. I have the answers, right? I have them inside.
Yeah.
And so it's my job now to go and ponder and to really think about, what is this? And then to do something about it. And
Absolutely.
That's how I power my life. That's how you power your life. That's how we all power our life, to not just hear awesome information from experts like Jac, but to go and do something with it and to go apply it and to truly reap the rewards now from this new information. Yeah. So thank you, Jac, for spending time with us today. So appreciate that.
Thank you, Kristy Jo, for having me on. This has been fun. You have great listeners out there.
So everybody be sure to head over. I'll have all the links to Jac's social media and other website and, things like that in the show notes. Go and say hello, and we hope to, see a ton more online and maybe even have you back in the future.
That would be awesome.
If this resonated with you, please share it with one person who comes to mind. Investing in yourself is the best investment you're ever going to make, because when you improve your life, everybody around you improves their lives too. Subscribe to this channel so you are really sure to catch our next power session together, so you can continue to power your life to one of more service, value, and love. Until then, power your life today.